But Makhachev, I'm going to tell you, somebody was telling me, who do you think is a better wrestler? Was it Makhachev or was it Khabib? And I think Makhachev is a better grappler, honestly.
When Islam first started come training, I mean, he was the only person that actually gave Khabib any trouble sparring. No one else would give Khabib any trouble sparring. He was the only one. He was the only one that would actually win rounds against Khabib. No one else could ever do that. No one else won a round against Khabib. He was the only one.
There is fighters, there is champions, and there is elite. My opinion is like Islam is elite in UFC right now. Not many fighters can call themselves elite.
The whispers began long ago. They said he was just another one. A shadow. A Khabib wannabe who fought nobody and was massively, ridiculously overrated. The MMA world dismissed him. They looked right through him. They said he was nothing but a protege, riding the coattails of his friend's legacy. But then, everything changed. In one night, a new king was crowned. The dismissals, the doubts, the whispers, they were all silenced with a single brutal choke. Islam Makhachev didn't just beat Charles Oliveira. He absolutely smashed him. He took the man with the most submission wins in UFC history and choked him out. And just like that, the MMA world was forced to reckon with a terrifying new reality. Islam Makhachev is not a clone. He is a different kind of monster. And according to one of the greatest fighters of all time, Daniel Cormier, he currently sits at the final boss level of this game. For so long, the narrative was simple. He was overshadowed. He was Khabib's best friend. They'd been training together since childhood, and everyone knew Khabib was the GOAT. But what if I told you? Even in Khabib's absolute prime, there was one person, and only one person, who could not only hang with him but actually win rounds in sparring. According to his coach, the legendary Javier Mendez, that person was Islam Makhachev. And it's not just DC. His own teammates are saying it. One teammate believes Makhachev is more dangerous because he has better striking, a lethal weapon Khabib was never known for. And get this, another teammate believes Islam is a better wrestler than the undefeated and undisputed GOAT of the UFC lightweight division. I mean, what do you even do with that kind of information? It's a different kind of strength, isn't it? A strength that Josh Thompson has also pointed to. How else do you explain what happened at UFC 280? How do you brutally squeeze and choke out a submission artist like Charles Oliveira? A man who is not just a black belt, but a BJJ monster with the most submission wins in UFC history. That win was a serious, gut-wrenching reality check for every single person who thought Islam was just an overhyped kid enjoying the perks of his friendship with Khabib. But even after that, the doubts lingered. Because while he dominated on the ground, some said, yeah, but what about his striking? What about his stand-up game? And then came his first title defense. He was up against the #1 pound-for-pound fighter at the time, the legendary Alexander Volkanovski. And though he was given a run for his money, many failed to credit him for doing something incredible. Standing and banging with arguably one of the best strikers in the UFC. Opinions were divided. Some thought Islam lost. Others begged to differ. But Islam had something to prove. He has a fight IQ that's off the charts, and he learns and adapts in a way that very few fighters ever can. In their rematch at UFC 294, Makhachev showed us what happens when you dare to question his stand-up game. In a jaw-dropping moment, he knocked Volkanovski out cold with a perfectly timed head kick. How did it happen? Even Volkanovski himself was impressed, admitting that Islam simply learned and adapted from their first fight. But here's the thing. Even with a resume that includes smashing two of the most dominant fighters of the modern era, even with a brutal knockout over the former pound-for-pound king, there are still doubters. There are still people who believe he has more to prove, that his resume includes only a couple of big names. But what if Makhachev conquers a man who has achieved way more than he has in the sport? A man who is a certified legend, a knockout artist, a fan favorite, a true warrior? The next time Islam Makhachev enters the octagon, he'll be up against Jack Della Maddalena at MSG on November 16th. A man who knows he's up against a monster of the highest level. Della Maddalena has been keeping tabs on him ever since the Russian surprised him by beating Oliveira. Makhachev also understands that he'll be up against a legend at UFC 322, but it's still an easy fight for him. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're a fan, you'll want to check out this next video on a complete breakdown of the Islam vs JDM fight.